Marvin Devine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Sunday, March 15th, 2026. Welcome back to the program, ladies and gentlemen. This is Chris live in the studio in central Pennsylvania. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Chris. All right, that sounds good. Thank you all for your patience. My apologies for those who've waited patiently for an hour and a half for the news. I had an impromptu meeting that wasn't scheduled this morning, and yes, I work 7 days a week. So I had to take advantage of that meeting, which was of rather important note. So I went to the meeting, and it was only around 10 o'clock this morning that I was asked for the meeting, and the meeting was asked to be at 12. Started slightly before 12, so it ran a little bit longer than I anticipated. But it was worthwhile for me and for others. So anyway, so thank you for your patience. I apologize for the tardy. No, I didn't get paid for the meeting, Charles. I don't get paid for any of this stuff. So thank you all for your patience. I appreciate everybody who's here. 353 people. You've been very patient. Let's get right to the news. I won't greet folks tonight. We'll save that for the Refugee Cafe Clutch, which will be up in a little over an hour. So I need to get through all this news quickly for this hour. Thank you to the 12,000 plus people who've already watched my video. I released a short while ago, video I released less than 2 hours ago about this so-called intelligence report that City Press is talking about. Utter poppycock. Let me just go ahead and get straight to that story, since that was the headline for today. A rubbish intelligence report falsely ties South Africa to the Taliban in Iran, from Eric Gibson. Well, I'll just tell you my take on this story. I think the story is probably accurate. Thank you, Audrey Streetum, for subscribing. And also Heinrich Kusel, thank you for your subscription as well. Yes, thank you for that. But outrageously fabricated claims in providing South Africa providing help to the Taliban. Well, I agree that is probably ridiculous. Also, I think the news report, not the journalist, but the story is worthwhile reporting. But the way this is being played up, I suspect this is more disinformation being peddled on behalf of the U.S., or this is not the U.S., on behalf of the South African government. Whether the South African government's behind it or not really isn't germane, but the story is being peddled. Now, I'm not blaming the journalist for this, Eric Gibson. I'm just saying the story is being put out there. First off, a purported intelligence report from the Tornet. Yeah, okay. So the Tornet is a place where people share things privately, and a lot of illicit activity takes place there. This intelligence report has a number of problems with it. First off, they're not airing it, but they're airing excerpts from it. And they're also making ludicrous claims from so-called experts in South Africa trying to discredit the claim. And then the story wraps up with Vincent Mangwenya from the Office of Presidency saying that this is what we expected when we went to the ICJ against Israel. Will we be attacked? Hey, Loretta, thank you for your 13 months. Thanks for always bringing this news. In fact, it's my pleasure to do that. Thank you, Loretta, for being here. So, as I was saying, to me, this is a disinformation campaign. I'm not attacking the journalist or the publication for running it. I think it's worthwhile to report on. But I made a video just eviscerating this nonsense. First off, the claim is that there's no way that the Iranians are involved because they would never support the Hadi network. Well, that's utter nonsense. First off, the Iranians, through their proxies, support terror in the Middle East, in Yemen through the Houthis, who are Shia. The Persians are also Shia. They also do it through Hezbollah in Lebanon, also Shia, a minority there, along with Persians. And they do it through Hamas, who are Sunni. The argument being that they would never support Sunnis. Well, that's an utter lie. The Iranians will use whatever proxies they can to attack their enemies in Tel Aviv, in Washington, and in Riyadh. They don't care about the schism in Islam. They care about it, but they don't care about it when it comes to eliminating their enemies. So the story has all kinds of holes in it, and I just wanted to share that very quickly here. But this perhaps may be the most interesting part of this whole story from my perspective, and that is a response from the government. Spokesman Vincent Mangwenya from the Office of the Presidency in South Africa. Mangwenya says, "We are not strangers to fake intelligence reports, and neither is the world to a stranger that lies that have triggered unjustified regime change in other parts of the world." Now, that's an obvious dig at the United States. When South Africa took the state of Israel to the International Court of Justice, we knew exactly what would follow. Really? Did you? So why is it that someone sat on this story, this so-called intelligence report, for 30 months? 30 months. And now they're running it. If it's fake news and it's all fabricated, why didn't they fabricate it 30 months ago or 29 months ago after you went to the ICJ? You see? You see? That's right. It's right. The moment this story breaks, Meerkat, is after the United States, Fiji, and Hungary all opposed South Africa's case, joining 3 other states that already opposed it in the ICJ. Now, in interest of full disclosure, 16 countries are in favor of South Africa, including Iceland and the Netherlands. But objective reporters will tell you the whole story, which is what I just did. 16 in favor, 6 against. But of the 4 cases presented on March 12th, 3 were in opposition, 1 was in favor, and that was Namibia. And even that was kind of shaky about whether it was in concert. The Iceland and Netherlands came the day prior. So, yeah, funny how this is South Africa trying to play the victim because the United States is eviscerated. But frankly, the Hungarian position is even better. If you read the Hungarian statement to the court, their argument against South Africa's case is the stronger one than the U.S., in my view. So, yeah, it's please feel sorry for us and support our case tactics. That's exactly right. That's what's going on there. And here's the Daily Maverick story on it from Victoria O'Regan saying U.S. intervenes to defend Israel in South Africa's genocide case at the ICJ. The United States, Namibia, Hungary, and Fiji have filed the declarations in the genocide case. Their declarations to intervene in the case come after both the Netherlands and Iceland filed declarations earlier in the week. They also come after more than 2 years after Saudi Arabia brought its 84-page lawsuit before the World Court. Now, see, this is objective reporting. She's reporting factually there. Now, I haven't read the whole story, but she's reporting factually. Yep. So these are the countries that now intervene in the case. 16 in favor of and 6 opposed. Interesting. Interesting. More than 72,000 Palestinians have been killed, but that's not what we hear from the likes of other people published on that platform. They claim 200,000 people have been killed, which is poppycock. Meerkat, I've read the Hungarian and the U.S. report, and I went through the Iceland report. Well, the deputy minister apologizes for a loaf for everyone, using bribes, in essence, to buy votes. Yes. Deputy Minister Bernice Schwartz apologizes for one loaf, one family controversy. Thank you, Tertius Fostafus, for your platoon leader membership. Appreciate the support for the channel. Yes, she's apologizing for this controversy. Even the ANCs had to distance themselves from this. Deputy Forestries, Fisheries, and Environment Minister Bernice Schwartz has unconditionally apologized after public outrage about a controversial bread distribution campaign that went viral. Schwartz said she regretted the pain caused by the video showing volunteers distributing bread to committee members while chanting one loaf, one family. But what pain? Who cares about pain? We care about buying votes, which is what it was really about. I write this letter with deep humility in my heart with the hope that it will provide clarity on an incident that has rightly caused outrage among millions of South Africans. As a starting point, I tender my unconditional apology for the legitimate pain for the video caused. I'm sorry. How about you tender your unconditional resignation for trying to buy votes? And here you see ANC regalia as they hand out a loaf of bread to buy votes from poor South Africans. Yep. I recognize we live in a country where millions of people live below the poverty line, where poverty continues to disproportionately affect Black, African, and colored populations. As an elected official, I have a constitutional duty and moral obligation not only to serve the people of South Africa, but also do so while protecting human dignity. I apologize unequivocally for being linked to a video in which this dignity was not protected. How about you resign for corrupt practices? How about you resign for corrupt practices? Buying votes with bread. Pathetic. Well, rifts in the government of national unity. First, we have a news story yesterday about how the Freedom Front Plus opposes the ANC's ridiculous foreign policy of neutrality when it's not neutral, unaligned when it's not unaligned. It's aligned with fascist totalitarian dictators and corrupt fascist states and communist oligarchs all over the world. And terrorists. That's who the ANC aligns itself with. They're not unaligned. So we have a story about that coming up in a moment. But first, the Patriotic Alliance's own Gate McKenzie says that South Africa's representative in Hatfield from the United States is an honorable man. Wow, that's not what the ANC says about him. McKenzie stands with the U.S. Ambassador, a man of discernment. Gabe McKenzie met U.S. Ambassador Leo Brent Bozell, endorsing his stance on Kill the Boer chant. The meeting came 2 days after Bozell was demarched by the South African government for his remarks. But of course, the Patriotic Alliance also doesn't like that chant. Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, failed former Justice Minister and failed Foreign Minister Ronald Lamola confirmed Wednesday that Bozell had been demarched as Bozell expressed himself in a very unpalatable way. Unpalatable because he told the truth. The ANC doesn't like the truth. They can't handle the truth, and therefore it was unpalatable. We took his remarks with a very dim view, hence we all had to call him in, says Lamola. On Friday, McKenzie, the Sports, Arts and Culture Minister, met with Bozell. The meeting took place in a spirit of mutual respect, open dialogue, and was held in President McKenzie's capacity as President of the Patriotic Alliance, said party spokesman Steve Motale. He left the discussion encouraged and optimistic about the future relations between South Africa and the United States. For some time, relations between our countries have experienced strain and misunderstanding. With the arrival of Ambassador Bozell, a man of discernment, experience, and the trust of President Trump, South Africa has a genuine opportunity to reset and strengthen this important relationship. The Patriotic Alliance believes South Africa should seize this moment, which is what Durko should have done. But the ANC is hell-bent on having bad relations with the United States. They called him on the carpet for going to the Apartheid Museum in Soweto. What kind of idiot does that? At that place, he was commenting on actually South Africa's dark past with apartheid, recognizing the need for redress. So he spewed your talking points. Ambassador Bozell paid the fare for the ferryman on the river Styx to Hades. He paid the fare, and you called him on the carpet for going to the Apartheid Museum, as the Daily Maverick accurately reported. Not simply for his comments at Biz News Conference. What kind of serious foreign ministry does such a thing? The role of an ambassador is to get to know a local country, to interact with it, to promote the interest of their own country. How can the ambassador to South Africa do that by sitting in a puzzle palace in Hatfield? He must get off his bum, get out, and go places. And that's exactly what Brent Bozell did. They don't care about diplomacy or the Vienna Convention. All they care about is pissing off Donald Trump. And quite frankly, if they don't get it, they've been pissing off Congress for 25 years. Unbelievable. Well, it's not just Gabe McKenzie. Not just Gabe McKenzie, but the Freedom Front Plus also expressing outrage at the immoral foreign policy of the African National Congress. Foreign policy spat breaks out as Freedom Front Plus and ANC clash over U.S. relations. The Freedom Front Plus criticized South Africa's handling of U.S. relations, arguing tensions worsened after summoning Brent Bozell. Freedom Front Plus leader Corné Mulder has come out in support of U.S. demands for trade restoration, criticizing ANC foreign policy as the root of the diplomatic clash. Freedom Front Plus, part of the government of national unity, says South Africa may have overplayed its hand by summoning U.S. Ambassador Brent Bozell. Indeed, they did overplay it. He said Thursday that the ambassador's recent remarks on U.S.-South African relations had generally been viewed as positive, which is correct. Mulder said the Freedom Front Plus viewed the so-called dissatisfaction from Lamola and Durko as a distraction from what he described as a real issue, Washington's demands for resetting trade relations with South Africa. That is the bottom line. And so cracks in the GNU. Where is the Democratic Alliance? They seem quite quiet on the Ambassador Bozell story. Where is the Democratic Alliance? Do they have a say in this? Anybody from the Democratic Alliance would like to appear on the program to explain your position? Anybody? Would anybody from the Democratic Alliance like to explain your position on foreign policy? And the ANC? You have now two of the GNU partners who come out opposed to the actions of the ANC publicly. The Patriotic Alliance and Freedom Front Plus. What about the Democratic Alliance? The entire time it was in opposition, virtually everything the ANC did, they were opposed to. Where are they now? Shall we ask our white Minister of Agriculture? Maybe he can explain this to us. I don't know. Can we have the DA explain this to us? I'm curious. Curious minds would like to know. The Hawks are probing a $290 million Joburg social housing contract. Wow. Two top Joschka officials named investigation to alleged fraud and corruption. Sunday Times has learned that members of the Director of Priority Crime Investigation, working with the National Prosecuting Authority Specialized Commercial Crimes Unit in Joburg, are investigating alleged fraud and corruption as well as money laundering in tenders to construct nearly 400 rooms in Klipspruit, Soweto, and Selkirk Avenue in Randburg. According to a source with insight into the probe, investigation stems from protected disclosures made around alleged discrepancies in the expenditure and progress of reports. So more ANC corruption and fraud. Shocker. Shocker. Not. Well, folks, SARS has increased the limit, but they warn you. Yes, a warning about the new 46,000 Rand tax-free limit. Finance Minister Enoch Gondwana may have increased the yearly tax-free investment allowance, but South Africans must still keep up to date on their additions and withdrawals. In the 2026 budget, Gondwana announced that the annual contribution limit for tax-free investments has increased from 36 to 46,000 Rand. South Africans can now invest up to 46,000 Rand per year in approved tax-free investment products without paying tax on the returns. That's pretty nice. That's kind of like a Roth IRA in America. Of course, 46,000 is a joke. 460,000, maybe that might be better for most South Africans. A suspect has been arrested in the murder of Marius Vlam van der Merwe. The police task team investigating cases emanating from the Mhlanga Commission made their first breakthrough with the arrest of a suspect believed to be the killer of Marius van der Merwe, also known as Witness D. SAP's spokesperson, Brigadier Athlenda Mate, said the arrest marks the first major breakthrough investigations linked to cases emanating from the Mhlanga Commission of Inquiry. The task team established to investigate cases emanating have registered their first breakthrough. He was shot dead outside his home in Brakpan back in December, shortly after testifying before the commission. After obtaining overwhelming evidence, the team obtained a J-50 warrant of arrest last week and made their first arrest on Saturday. It's believed the suspect is the one who actually shot van der Merwe. He was arrested in Johannesburg. See, these brazen killers don't even care. They don't even leave. They stay right where they commit their crimes. Days after the deployment of South African National Defense Force, gangsters are killing people in El Dorado Park in Soweto. Gunmen storm El Dorado Park gathering, killing 2 and wounding 6. 8 unknown gunmen killed 2 people and wounded 6 others in a mass shooting at a social gathering in El Dorado Park, despite the South African National Defense Force being deployed there. It's been gripped by escalating drug wars between rival gangs, the Fast Guns and the Mongrels. What a good name for gangsters, Mongrels. The police request anyone who may have information that can assist with investigations to contact Crime Stop number 08600101111 or anonymously give tips off MySAP's app, which can be downloaded. That number is 08600101111. So, SANDF soldiers in El Dorado Park, but people still being waxed by the gangsters. The soldiers will leave, but the Zama-Zamas will come back. Krugersdorp residents doubt the efficacy of having the military deployed to their area. They don't think the raids will have any lasting effect. Residents of Rietvallei in Krugersdorp watched as soldiers raided houses linked to illegal mining this week, but many say they're not convinced the operation will bring lasting change. At one house, equipment including generators, electric motors, welding machines, and shovels was found. Several alleged Zama-Zamas were apprehended while others fled. We do not have hope. They raid these places during the day, but at night they will be gone and will be left here with the Zama-Zamas again, says a resident of Rietvallei. No doubt about it. They just shift their operations. Well, one country is seeking South Africans, and it's not the United States. New country hunting for skilled South Africans, offering free housing and 56,000 Rand a month, tax-free. Sign me up. New data shows job advertisements targeting South Africans from Saudi Arabia have tripled year on year, offering very attractive remuneration packages. According to the report, these adverts increased from 1.6% of all jobs in 2021 to 2.2% in 2025, which shows stronger international demand for South African skills. And the brain drain continues as South Africans continue to flee South Africa, this case for Saudi Arabia. Consumers are warned about Click's contaminated snacks, and that's not good. Made for Tots, corn puffs. National Consumer Commission has announced a recall of Made for Tots corn puffs, chicken, 12 kilograms by Click's retailers. The recall affects 1,152 units. Wow. 348 were actually sold to consumers, while 804 have already been removed from the shelves. So if you purchase these products, be careful. They're also distributed in Lesotho. Puffs for kids. Tots, corn puffs, chicken. Well, let's bring you some pleasant news here. Something nice, not just the misery that's going on in South Africa, but something nice. The famous historic Drosti Hotel by Johan Rupert. Business Tech visited the 5-star Drosti Hotel in Graafrenet. Is it got a new name now? Isn't it called Robert Sobukwe Town, which was bought and restored by the Rupert family? It's truly exquisite. It dates back to 1804 when Louis Thibault designed the old Drosti, which served as its official residence. And it's hosted many famous figures over the years, including Lord Charles Somerset and Sir Rufan Donkin. I don't know who that is, but I know Charles Somerset. From 1819 to 1847, it was home of the local magistrate, and it changed hands a bunch of times. In 1878, Henry Crome breathed life into this historic gem, transforming it into Crome's Droste Hotel. So that has been a hotel for nearly 150 years. Yeah, the Rupert family bought it in 2012, and they used it as a training center, and now it's been renovated. The Droste Hotel in Graffrinet. So here's the entrance. There's a cheetah. Here's the inside of the renovated Droste Hotel. Looks lovely. Lovely. His companies are being divested from abroad, Meerkat, an insurance company in the UK he got rid of. That's quite lovely, isn't it? I guess if I get the Graffrinet, I'll have to check it out. Lovely spot. Shows you what money can buy. Money can buy lovely, but you can't stop the crime with the money. There's the slave bell. Quite beautiful. And there you go. So a little bit of good news about South Africa before we continue. Yeah, the wood looks beautiful and quite serene. Well, the Stormers finally break their winless streak, having lost 4 in a row, 1 in the Champions Cup and 3, 2 to the Sharks, the woeful Sharks, and 1 to the Lions, who beat them handily. The Stormers finally go to Loftus Versfeld and the Highveld and win a game. Boy, this one saved the season. The Stormers were in 6th place after being 8-0 to lead the competition for the first half of the season, 16-game season. 3 straight losses in URC to South African sides, no less, and they wind up with an 8-3 record, but they win and they go from 6th position back to 2nd position. Wow, they are alive. After losing that winning feeling over the past 3 URC matches, the Stormers finally got the win to break their losing streak. East Coast Ostrich is apparently intoxicated, drinking a little too much right now, confused about why the game was won. Rowan Nell was back in the lineup, as was Dion Faree, and it showed. Both players were incredible and made a huge difference as the Stormers turned it around. Yep, and they had 2 tries disallowed, one on a forward pass by Sasha Feinberg-Ungumzulu and another by Suleiman Hatzenberg, where his right boot just caught the line. And they were legitimate to overturn, but yeah. Italy lost. Wow, I'm surprised. So I got that one wrong. Where are the lowest fuel prices in Africa? Well, not in South Africa, where the ANC fleeces consumers with excessive onerous taxation, but in other parts of Africa, gasoline, plus there's no gas being refined in South Africa. Only one refinery currently open. So let's take a look. Libya has the cheapest fuel price in the world at 0.24 cents per liter. Wow. Angola at 32 cents a liter, is 4th in the world, 35 cents for Algeria. So Libya obviously is subsidized. Egypt, 46, Sudan, Nigeria, Ethiopia, Tunisia, and 10th is Liberia at 91 cents a liter. But South Africa doesn't appear on there. Why is someone talking about the Fillonins? I'm not even talking about that. Where does that come from? I covered that story yesterday. Let's take a look at what's happened on day 16 of the Israeli and U.S. attacks on Iran. Residential areas in Shiraz, the capital of Fars province, were attacked, according to the Iranians. Attack in the industrial city Isfahan killed 15 people. 20 people were arrested in northwestern Iran for attempting to cooperate with Israel, according to them. And the IRCG's 50th wave of attacks. Foreign Minister Arachi said U.S. used cruise missiles launched from the UAE near Dubai. Tehran will retaliate, and it would be dangerous for the region. Yes, well, that's what the Iranians say. Saudi Arabia's defense ministry said 4 drones were intercepted in the Riyadh metropolitan area. At least 2 people were killed. Why are the Iranians firing at a civilian city? There is no U.S. presence in Riyadh from a military standpoint, and they're killing people there. At least 2 people were killed and 12 injured in the attack since Iran started retaliatory attacks. In the UAE, the IRCRG launched 10 missiles and several drones against U.S. forces, but they actually hit civilian infrastructure. Despite the lies being spewed here by Al Jazeera, I'm giving you the facts. Trump told NBC News that Iran wants to make a deal, but he's not ready for one. because the terms aren't good enough yet. Question whether Mojtaba Khomeini is even alive after Hegseth's earlier claim is likely disfigured. Trump added the U.S. strikes on Iran's strategic cargo and totally demolished most of the island, but we may hit a few more times just for fun. Just for fun. Well, President Trump perhaps should refrain from the commentary. It's not particularly helpful, to say the very least. Trump says he demands Iran surrender. He's hearing the leader is not alive. And the IDF claims they're expanding the scope of strikes against Iran's infrastructure. President Trump said that the U.S. had carried out a bombing raid in Karg Island on Friday. State Department announced it's offering a $10 million reward for information about Iran's new supreme leader and key leaders of Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. But Secretary of War Pete Hegseth said that the Pentagon, that U.S. forces are decimating the radical Iranian regime's military. Yeah, well, that's all true, but we'll see what happens. Trump claims that international coalition will send ships to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. He claimed that U.S. and several other countries will send warships to open the commercial shipping, but that's not going to stop the drones, the artillery, and the missiles. So that's what has to be done in order to open it. Interesting. U.S., as I said, is offering $10 million reward for the relocation and for information on Iran's supreme leader and other top officials. Hard revenge continues. The Iranians have time to make propaganda posters. Hard revenge continues. A banner depicting the new Ayatollah, from March 11th already. Among those listed are Khomeini, as well as Ali Lajarani, Secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council, Ali Ashgar Hijazi, Deputy Chief of Staff in the Supreme Leader's office. So they're going after them. Trump urges the United Kingdom and other nations to send their warships after claiming that they will be there. So we shall see. Trump has urged the UK and other nations to send warships to the Strait of Hormuz to help secure a key shipping route out of the Middle East. Tehran says will keep blocking the strait, the world's busiest oil shipping channel through which 20% of the world's oil supply pass. But the thing is, how are they blocking it? They're not blocking it with ships or submarines. They're blocking it with drones, artillery, and missiles. And that's what needs to be dealt with, not ships. Benjamin Netanyahu's office debunks reports that he's dead, says he's fine, after people say an AI video with 6 fingers proves he's dead. At the 35-second mark in the video, when he raises his hands, extra flesh is seen next to the little finger, which many social media users claim was a 6th finger. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is fine, his office claimed after social media posts suggested he died. A correspondent for the Anadolu agency asked the office if they had a statement. These are fake news. The Prime Minister is fine. On Friday, he shared a video at a press conference on the ongoing U.S.-Israeli war. In the video, several social media users claimed to have spotted 6 fingers on his right hand, fueling rumors that the video was AI generated. Candace Owens says the United States is lying to the American people. Another Faraya. No, Benjamin Netanyahu does not have 6 fingers. The circled spots in those images are optical illusions from shadows, hand angles, or the palm's natural shape, according to this post from Grok. I don't know. But the censorship out of Israel makes it crazy to know what's really going on. Iran is totally defeated despite fake news reports, says Trump. Trump declared Iran totally defeated just 2 weeks into the war. The fake news media hates to report how well the United States military has done against Iran, which is totally defeated and wants a deal. Now that's interesting. What do you guys say? Is Iran totally defeated? I don't know. You guys tell me. I mean, I'm curious if that's actually the case. They claim it's the case. So there you go. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know. Interesting. Interesting to say the least. It seems very strange to me. Very strange to me. I think Iran are closer to defeat than not. I would agree. They are closer to defeat than not. Anyway, so that's done. Well, the war in Iran may threaten water supplies throughout the Middle East. This is a story that's been talked about by a few people, and now we have a story from the New York Times. It took 3 journalists to make it happen. Mira Rojan-Sakul, Claire Brown, and Hiroko Tabuchi. 2 weeks into the war, these are desalination plants in the Middle East. 2 weeks in the war, 2 water desalination plants in the region have been damaged in military operations, raising concerns over the vulnerability of a system that serves as a lifeline for millions across the Middle East. Thank you, Renata Overbeek, for becoming a member at the platoon leader level, too. Thank you. Iran says the U.S. attacked the desalination plant on Qasem Island, and Bahrain says an Iranian drone damaged one of their plants. But these are the desalination plants in the Middle East. So, over the past few decades, the arid countries of the Persian Gulf have become increasingly reliant on desalination plants to supply water to towns. Yes. And why is that? Well, this story claims it's because of climate change. I don't see that now. It looks like they've removed it from the story. Originally, the story posted that climate change was the reason for it. It's not climate change. It's the explosion of people. Saudi Arabia had 6 million people. Now they got like 28 million people. 28 million people consuming water in a modern society, not to mention all these other countries. Too many damn people live in an arid region, not designed to provide water for that many people. Hence the reason for desalination plants. In some countries like Qatar rely on it overwhelmingly. 75% of its water comes from desalination. Bahrain at 60%. Kuwait at 40%. Iran at just 1%. Saudi Arabia at about 18%. Too many people. That's where they get the water from. Meanwhile, China's fuel price hike triggering gas lines. There are gas lines in China. I told you the people to suffer will be China. This Iran conflict is going to cripple China. They're not getting oil from Venezuela. They're not getting it from Iran now. The regime raised gasoline and diesel prices a 4th time this year as crude surged amid the Iran war. China raised domestic fuel prices. China's National Development and Reform Commission announced that retail gasoline and diesel prices would rise starting midnight on March 10th. Prices are set by the commission. It's state-controlled pricing, not a capitalist society. The price hike comes on the heels of January 20th, February 3rd, February 24th price hikes. Of course, the United States and Israel had not attacked Iran on the 20th of January, the 3rd of February. Prices of petroleum had actually declined in that time frame, yet they hiked the prices. Wow. A resident of the Heilongjiang province told Epoch Times that farmers relying on fuel for agricultural machinery have struggled to buy gasoline amid the surge in demand. Yep, gas lines. What time is what interview? What are you talking about? What interview? China's resumed harassment of Taiwan, flights around the island after a 10-day hiatus. Taiwan reported bursts of Chinese military flights into the skies near its main island on Sunday as Beijing resumed a practice of what Taipei describes as harassment that had recently and mysteriously gone quiet. Probably because they had no fuel. That might be one reason why the Chinese stopped doing it. Top U.S. and Chinese trade negotiators are meeting in Paris ahead of Trump's visit to Beijing. Like a lot of our meetings we've had with the Chinese over the past year, we want to ensure the continued stability in the U.S.-China relationship. U.S. delegation led by Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Trade Representative Jamieson Greer, while the Chinese team is headed by Vice Premier He Lefeng. Thank you, Herman. Not only China is being KIA due to low price, we're soon following China. Yes, but I said China would be the biggest losers initially. The whole world will suffer, but China comes first. 2 more attacks on Jews around the world. A blast at a Dutch school is the second anti-Semitic attack in the Netherlands in 2 days. Fortunately, no one was hurt at the explosion at a Jewish school in Amsterdam. Previously, one occurred at Rotterdam Synagogue. Explosive devices were set off at 2 Jewish institutions in the Netherlands within 2 days, Dutch officials said Saturday, denouncing what they described as anti-Semitic attacks. On Saturday, Mayor Femke Halsema of Amsterdam said an overnight blast had damaged the outer wall of a Jewish school, calling it a target attack against Jewish community. On Friday, the police arrested 4 teenagers after an explosion started a brief fire at a synagogue early that morning. Fortunately, no one was injured in these attacks on Jews. And this continues because of leftists who've stoked this hatred of Jews around the world. Well, a great start. Danish royals bask in the sunrise at Ayers Rock in Australia. Check it out, folks. You can no longer climb it, but you can take pictures from a distance. Denmark's King Frederik and Queen Mary have ended the first leg of their Australian visit with a sunrise trek to the famous Uluru watering hole. The royal couple woke before dawn on Sunday to walk to the water hole in the national park with traditional owners. The culturally significant site is one of a few permanent water sources around the sandstone monolith and a regular attraction for visiting dignitaries. It welcomed the late Princess Diana and Prince Charles during the 1983 British royal tour, as well as the Dalai Lama in 2015. The monarchs made their way to the cultural center under gray skies for a guided tour and a ceremonial dance called Inma that connects traditional custodians, the Anagu, to their ancestors. Ayers Rock in Australia. Probably get hate mail from Australian indigenous population over that one. 153 people on a Princess cruise ship in the Caribbean infected with a norovirus. The Florida-ported Star Princess debuted just 5 months ago. Brand new ship was on a 1-week trip when the illness was reported, according to CDC. More than 150 people on board a Princess cruise ship touring the Caribbean became ill with the norovirus. Total number of people who fell ill was 153, 104 of whom were passengers and 49 of whom were crew members. Wow. The outbreak was reported Wednesday to CDC's vessel sanitation program. The 4,307 passenger vessel returned to Fort Lauderdale on Sunday before it embarked on a new voyage that had headed to Princess Cays in the Bahamas on Sunday evening. Well, thank you, Juanita Parkin, for the 140 Rand Super Chat. Appreciate that. Very kind of you. Cuba. Protesters are attacking government facilities, the ruling party's offices, and amid blackouts. Long daily blackouts ignited by the U.S. oil blockade have pushed Cuban residents to the edge. On Friday, Havana acknowledged talks to the U.S. to defuse the situation. Protesters in central Cuba attacked early Saturday an office of the ruling Communist Party amid growing discontent over hours-long blackouts fueled by the U.S. oil blockade. Angry protesters vandalized the Communist Party office in the city of Moron, 460 kilometers east of the capital of Havana, as a peaceful rally against power cuts and food shortages turned violent. Well, now they're protesting the communists. They're protesting the communists in Cuba. That's always nice to see. United States flag has been raised over our embassy in Caracas for the first time in 7 years. U.S. Embassy lowered its flag as it pulled diplomatic personnel out of Venezuela back in March of 2019 when Trump was president the first time around, and it stayed out throughout Biden's regime. On the morning of 14 March 2019, the American flag was lowered for the last time at U.S. Embassy in Caracas. This morning, 14 March 2026, the same hour, my team and I raised the United States flag exactly 7 years after it was removed. Relations between Washington and Caracas have already been strained under Maduro's predecessor, Hugo Chavez, but those relations hit a breaking point with Nicolas Maduro. But now, with his successor, they seem to be going Delcy Rodriguez pretty well. 90% of those unemployed in Washington, D.C., the layoffs, were federal employees, people suckling off the government teat. 96% to be exact of D.C. area job losses last year were federal layoffs. Roughly 96% of all job losses in the D.C. region last year came from federal layoffs, according to the Brookings Institute, a liberal organization. The think tank's analysis of federal data found the district and surrounding counties in Maryland and Virginia ended 2025 with 56,000 fewer jobs than the year before. That included 54,000 federal workers who lost their jobs. Most of the remaining 2,000 jobs were in the professional and business sector. The main takeaway from these findings is the federal downsizing severely damaged the region's economy, driving overall job growth down and unemployment up. Well, maybe we shouldn't rely on government to create jobs to pay people out of taxpayers' pockets when the jobs aren't necessary. The government's still doing its job just as well without them. The Pentagon has released the names and images of 6 service members who died in that KC-135 refueling crash. And here they are. 4 men, 2 women. Pentagon identifies 6 airmen killed in KC-135 crash. Allen says, let us not forget that the reason they checked Pearl Harbor, it was about an oil embargo. China may become... No, it wasn't. That's what coffee table analysts will tell you. It was the oil embargo. It contributed to it. But Japan made a decision to attack America before an oil embargo was ever employed. They made the decision that the United States was too grave a threat in the Pacific region. The United States was too grave an actor and would not allow them to continue to act with impunity. Now, you can make the argument that the reason they went for Indonesia was because of the oil embargo, and that is factual. But the Japanese hierarchy made the determination, we've known this for decades, that they would attack the United States before the embargo ever got put in place. It certainly was the nail that sealed the coffin. We are not dipping into the strategic reserve. You're talking nonsense, Ungers Pretoria. Where are you getting a bullshit story from? And I don't know what you're talking about. Single-sided narrative means nothing. What single-sided narrative are you talking about? There's no single-sided narrative being published here. Are you here trolling? If you're here trolling, find something else to do. 6 service members killed. The Pentagon identified 6 service members who were killed on March 12th when an Air Force KC-135 refueling aircraft crashed during combat operation against Iran. Major John Kleiner, 33 of Auburn, Alabama. Captain Ariana Savino, 31 of Covington, Washington. Tech Sergeant Ashley Pruitt of Bardstown, Kentucky, 34, were killed in the crash. Also, Captain Seth Koval, 38 of Mooresville, Indiana. Captain Curtis Angst, 30 of Wilmington, Ohio. Tech Sergeant Tyler Simmons, 28 of Columbus, Ohio. Those 3 were assigned to the 121st Air Refueling Wing out of Rickenbacker Air National Guard Base in Columbus, Ohio. Well, then why aren't my moderators doing something about it? If he's been trolling the whole stream, then why don't my moderators just do something about it? Why are you sleeping? Why are the moderators sleeping? I don't understand it, allowing trolling to go on. It's the first time I've seen it. Former Arizona Senator Kristen Sinema fesses up to knocking boots with her bodyguard. Knocking boots with her bodyguard. Another Democrat. Former Senator Kristen Sinema admitted to an affair with a member of her security detail. A romantic relationship began while she was a senator. She also argued in a legal filing that she should not be subject to a lawsuit by the bodyguard's ex-wife. Unfortunately, the bodyguard is from North Carolina, which allows for these kind of lawsuits. The Arizona Democrat turned independent who served in the Senate from 2019 to 2025 acknowledged her relationship with Matthew Amel in a motion to dismiss an alienation of affection. She acknowledged the intramarital affair, with her former bodyguard, became romantic and intimate in May of 2024, occurring over the next several months in California, New York, Colorado, Arizona, and Washington. Interesting. Well, travel to Minnesota is not recommended, folks. While we are experiencing early spring here, not early spring, but on-time spring, Minnesota is being hit by a major March snowstorm with serious impacts expected today. Officials have issued no travel advisory for parts of southern Minnesota. The next weather alert is in effect until Monday. So I have a scam artist calling me now, and my screening is going to take care of that. So Minnesota is dealing with, that's another chart. They updated that one. So lots of snow. I was looking for the picture. There was a picture here of the snowfall, but it's not showing up now. Lots of snow falling in that region. Red states and blue states. Well, red states and blue states, as people like to call them, because one tends to be predominantly conservative and the other tends to be predominantly leftist. Well, blue states have been raising taxes for the most part. Most blue states, not all. And red states are lowering taxes. Comparing income tax rates at the state level, 2006, 2016, and 2026. Over the past 20 years, Washington State has raised their taxes. Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts. Maine has lowered it. Oregon raised it. Illinois raised it. Pennsylvania's been flat. Delaware has raised it. New Jersey, Rhode Island's lowered it. California's raised it. Kentucky's lowered it. North Carolina's lowered it. Virginia's flat. Maryland has raised it. DC's raised it. Colorado's flat. Kansas has lowered it and then raised it again. Arizona's lowered it. New Mexico. But these are with Democrats, governors. Hawaii has raised it. But if you look across the board for Republican states, you'd be hard-pressed to find a Republican state where anyone raised the income tax. Not a single state with a Republican governor has raised its income tax in the last 20 years, showing you who really hates Americans and who loves Americans. These states fleecing more money from us to give to other people. Meanwhile, Candace Owens shows her hatred of America. Washington, D.C. is lying to the American people about what's going on in Iran. It is not going well. Now, how the hell does this know nothing, do nothing, never accomplished anything social media commentator know that it's not going well? Also, where's Bibi Netanyahu? Why is his office releasing, deleting fake AI videos from him? And why is there mass panic at the White House? Mass panic. Wow. Does anybody know where Candace Owens gets her intelligence from? I'm sorry. Did she serve for 3 decades as an intelligence professional in the intelligence committee? Is she a published author? Maybe she is. Is she a university lecturer? Where does Candace Owens get her information from? I'm curious. All right, that's the news for today, folks. That's the news for today. Yeah, she's reading the bones. Yeah, let me see. So what's with this guy trolling? Ungers Pretoria. See, I didn't see his trolling. Let me go back and try to find messages from this guy. Somebody said, why are you trolling? Putin happily selling oil to China. Oh, you'll troll because you see all the angles. Well, no, you'll just be put in timeout. Or we'll just hide you on this channel since you're an asshole. Now you've been hidden on the channel for being an ass. You're no longer welcome here. Yep. There's some breaking news about the program. Does anybody know what this happened? About what program, Jacques? Oh, are you talking about refugees when I'm talking about the news? Yep. That was, when did you say that? Timestamps. Okay. There's a lot of talk about the oil on Iran. You saw any credible news reports? No, I've seen any credible news reports on it. Anyway, so he's gone now. Single-sided reporting. Well, you can single-side your finger up your backside there, buddy. No single-sided reporting here. Objective analysis and reporting. I reported on the death of U.S. service members. I've also reported on President Trump's overstatements. Iran does not have Tomahawk missiles, as President Trump claims. But you can't deal with that, you little haters. Piss off. All right. Marius, how's it going? She lost the plot after she left Daily Wire. She used to be okay, but she's gone loopy. She has. Mandy, you're very welcome. Four friends of mine arrived in Minnesota Wednesday. Wow. Yes, Jaretha, I'm sure it's cold there in Minnesota. No, she was right. She was right. Erie. Oh, you see my St. Patrick's Day hat. I wore that last night. Starbucks fast for 99 cents, says Red John. Well, that's a pretty good deal there. We'll forgive you for being a Sharks supporter. Thank you for being a member for 12 months. It's always single-sided when you speak the truth and they can't handle the truth. Exactly, Bitter Ender. That's the problem. They can't handle it. What's happening with Tucker Carlson and Henderson? It's like both are derailed. Well, so it's not just them. It's also Alex Jones. All these people who purport to be conservatives who've made a ton of money off of people, their reputation. Am I feeling better? A little bit better, Debbie, but I'm still not well. How about them Stormers? Yeah, how about the Stormers, Andre the Great? Yeah, the great comeback there. Looked pretty dicey in the first half, but they got their act together. Yeah, so how about them Stormers? That was well done. I understand Italy lost. I didn't catch the game. And then I'm guessing France won, so they must have won the Six Nations. So I didn't even look at that. I was going to watch it, but I was sleeping yesterday because I was feeling poorly when that game was on. France, oh man, England nearly beat them, 48-46. Wow, so if Scotland had won a bonus point victory, which was possible until they let the game get away from them late, they could have, it was 26-21. They could have won 28-21. They let the game get away from them. That would have given bonus point. They would have been the first time ever Six Nations champions. But instead, France got, oh no, they wouldn't have because France got a bonus point anyway. So France still would have won it. 21 points, yeah. So yeah, France wins the Six Nations. Yep. Italy winds up with 3 losses. Shame. So Wales gets a victory in the end. Congratulations to Wales. That's awesome. So how did Wales win this game? 31-17, convincingly. So, yeah, my picks were terrible in the Six Nations. I went for hope and prayer, not facts. France won by 2 points. Good game. I missed it. I'm really enjoying Brent was on Biz News. Okay. Italy got whipped by Wales, only started playing the second half. Okay, thanks for that, Andre. 45 degrees. That is hot. Well, if you come to America now, Marius, you're coming in spring. Summer will be here soon, so... I did pick up the meds, yes, on Friday, but I just started taking them today. The tulips are growing. Yes, they are. Yeah, they've already grown, especially the purple one's grown quite a bit here just in a day or two. PC Man said the Stormers are lucky the ball bounced the right way. No, I would disagree. The ball did not bounce the right way for them. The ball bounced the wrong way. I mean, a forward pass by Sasha Feinberg Umuzula negated a try. The heel of the right boot of Suleiman Hatzenberg went into touch on another try. That's 2 tries disallowed. I wouldn't say the ball bounced the right way for them. I say they whooped the Bulls. Yep. Yeah, England wound up at the bottom, near the bottom. Yep. As a veteran, do you think it's sensible for Trump to say the war will end when he feels it in his bones, considering the loss of lives? Whatever language he wants to use, I really don't care. Have a toddy to help the body. Thank you, Tom Smith, for the $10 super chat. That's very kind of you. So I do have some news to talk about in the refugee program, which will start after this broadcast. We've got Refugee Cafe Clutch coming up after this, and I will be talking about some updates on the refugee program. Some things, my analysis, plus some, it's all analysis. So that'll be coming up. Why is that? Hang on a second. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one. I was updating the wrong thing. I was like, what's going on here? Okay, that's what I want. Okay, so there we go. All right, so you'll be automatically redirected to the Refugee Cafe Clutch if you want to watch it after this. God's Girl. Wow. Missed the beginning. We don't have electricity due to incompetent municipality. Okay, all right. Sorry you missed the beginning. No, Jay, being a veteran doesn't give me any special status. Trump can say what he wants to say. I can disagree with it. That's his prerogative. That's my prerogative. Feeling in his bones, I didn't hear him say that. So he said that. Interesting. Hey, what's going on, Monster Max? Drove past Loftus just as the game finished and couldn't help but shouting out the window Stormers. I'm sure you got a few dirty looks, Jaretha, in Pretoria, no doubt. Between Hatfield and Brooklyn, you're going to get a few dirty looks there. Tom Smith, thank you for the super chat. Well, I'm shocked she's making such claims now. When I was keeping up with the politics, she was one that actually called as is and actually made sense. She's, you're talking about Candace Owens. She went off deep end a long time ago. Yep. Sent you an email when you have time, not after. Thank you, Meerkat. I did address a few emails earlier, but then I had to run out for that meeting. That's okay, Monster Max. You don't have to greet everybody. That's perfectly fine. All right. You're trying to greet everybody. I can see that. Thanks for the news. You're welcome for the news. My pleasure. Tucker is a beta male of the platform. You know, it's interesting, Stephen Swanepoel. I heard, what's your thoughts on Democrats shut down huge? Well, I think it's irresponsible, Heidi. We're facing terrorist cells that are operating in America and lone wolves who are attacking Americans. We've already had attacks, a murder of an ROTC instructor, Army Lieutenant Colonel, who was murdered at Old Dominion by a fascist Islamist lunatic who had no business in this country, no business whatsoever in this country. He was a immigrant, a refugee from Sierra Leone. There's no basis whatsoever for refugees coming from Sierra Leone in the 2000s. The conflict in Sierra Leone ended years ago. The conflict ended there 20 years ago. No business for anyone coming from Sierra Leone as a refugee whatsoever. There's no persecution of minorities there. No religious persecution. Thank you, Monster Max, for the 199 Rand Super Chat. Appreciate that. So the fact he was led in the country, then became a naturalized citizen, served the National Guard, and served in combat. Then, after he got out, was convicted of material support to a terrorist group, and the Trump administration asked for a 20-year sentence. Thank you, Herr Janssen von Rensburg, for your membership. 56 months. That is awesome. Yeah, so then he was sentenced to just 11 years, served 9 years, and got out. And then murdered an ROTC instructor. The fact that this is happening and Homeland Security is crippled because of the Democrats, these people are anti-American. They're getting Americans killed. They're the same people that let these rapists and murderers flood and pedos flood into our country coming across the border, which has led to the death of many Americans and the sexual assault and the horrible crimes that have happened to Americans. We have our own homegrown crime. We don't need this garbage. Yeah, and because Trump has cracked down on illegal immigrants, murder rates are at the lowest they've been in history. Yeah, they're declining off the charts here as we get control of this country once again. Yeah, so that's my thoughts on that. But I was trying to say that Mark Levin recently was calling Tucker Carlson, Tucker Guttarlson for Gutter, a spokesman for Gutter, Guttarlson, and he calls Steve Bannon bloated Bannon. And he's calling Megyn Kelly. What did he call her? Botox Kelly? Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Mark Levin is going off. Thank you, C. Harisa, for your 14 Rand Super Chat. Thank you so much. You're tired. I'm sorry to hear that. All the coffee's for me. I'm tired. The France-England game was insane. Well, I'll have to watch it after the fact. Okay. And then Ellen, totally amazed to see Senator Dave McCormick went full on to Save America Act today. Let's see how it goes, John Thune. McCormick is my senator. I know him personally. I met McCormick. Thank you, Baron, for subscribing. We're getting some subscriptions from the video I produced this morning. Yep. Thank you for that, Alan. Appreciate that. Okay. Tucker Guitarlson. Yeah. Yeah, that's what they're calling him, Charles. Yeah, the tulips are growing quickly. Nick Fuentes is another one who's off the rails. I see he's advocating for the Democrats now after acting like conservative for how long? Yeah, I don't really follow Nick Fuentes. A lot of these people. So the proof of the pudding is that, so look, it's not controversial to support Trump. I mean, it is, but it isn't. It's not going to get you views. Opposing Trump gets you views. Opposing the Democrats when they're in charge gets you views. Some of these people are just obsessed with their views. That's all they care about. They don't care about the truth. They don't care about objectivity. And one thing I've discovered here is that one reason why I don't get more calls and contacts from people is that there are an awful lot of people who are trying to take advantage of the refugee program and make money off of refugees, and I'm not doing that. Although people lie and claim that I am, I'm not doing that. So that's one reason why I don't hear from people. You want to bet dollars of donuts that amongst the scamsters, there may be some very famous names that are scamsters who tried to get involved in the refugee program, make money off of it? Just saying. How can that situation be fixed? Well, Andrew, denaturalization, stripping fraudulent citizenship from people who shouldn't be citizens, deportation. Yep. Law enforcement. And then, we get rid of all these leftist hate wankers and, trans teachers in schools and start focusing on education and telling the truth. Trix gave a membership and it went to PC Man. Congratulations, PC Man. Remember the tulips I brought back? Did they ever grow? I can't remember. Edge of my seat for the info that's coming up from Colonel. Red, oh, you mean for the refugee program. Well, we're going to be there in a few minutes. Most of those podcasters are in it for the money, even Joe Rogan. Yep, I agree, Charles. Well, I mean, if I make money as a consequence of doing this, great. But I have put tons of time and effort and money in my life into doing this to bring people the truth. And if I don't make money, I don't make money. I have the resources to be able to do this and the time to be able to do it. And it's not my major affectation, nonetheless. So, yeah, it would not surprise me if famous people try to scam too. Money is the root of all evil. Well, no, money's not the root of all evil. Weak morality is the root of all evil. People use money as a tool. People boast about their wealth and income. Oh, look at me. I've got this much money. Look at my makeover. Look at my car. Look at my house. Yeah, no, that's those people would be like that whether they have money or not. They'll just find some other tool. Exactly, Charles. I was doing this long before the refugee program. Sure, one was a black tulip. Sorry, Chris, chatting to my mom on your chat. Okay. Colonel, I've put in time since day one. Most hours anyone put in this program, bring info analysis. Love of money, not money. Exactly, Tom. Love of money. Yeah, and thank you for the $10 super chat, speaking of money. But love of money is what does it, not, yeah. So the Cafe Clutch is coming up in about 7 minutes. So we're going to wrap it up here, and I'll forego this large audience of 569, hoping that you will all transfer over there, and we'll have a good audience there. Member for 5 years almost now. Wow, Ebola Games, that's a long time, but you've changed your name in that time. It hasn't been Ebola Games the whole time. Not sure if we continue to contribute too much, but we're happy to do an interview if we'll help. Well, interviews are very helpful. It helps everyone else out. Hit the like button on your way out, folks. And Candace, you're sorted away, I think. That's good to go. Love of money is the root of all evil. That's right, not money. Money is not the root. It's just a tool. All right? People misuse tools all the time. All right? No, I can't see old names, Red, so I don't even know who you are. Yep. See you guys at the Cafe Clutch in just a minute. Thanks for being here. Be sure to hit the like button. Thank you for tuning into the news program. And my apologies for starting late, but I did have a very important meeting. So I'm going to talk to you about a few things coming up, okay? So come back and join us in a few minutes for the Refugee Cafe Clutch. Cheers.